table. Way. But the reason I chose this topic is because when I was thinking about it last night after I finished my homework, which I wrote a speech about, I always went back to my basics when I write a speech, and it's write about something that you know. And one thing I do know about is storytelling, and it all starts with my father. I have three other siblings. There's four of us. There's Galen and Tanya, and Clifford and Phil. Galen and Tanya, they're like, I don't know how old they are. They're like mid-30s now. They're way older. And then my older brother Cliff is like 21 now. And Galen and Tanya went through high school together, and then Cliff went through high school 3 years ahead of me. So his senior was my freshman year. And we all live life and experience things differently. And the storytelling comes from my papa. I'll never call him papa before, I don't know why I just did. It comes from my dad. His name's Howard Barrett. We call him Big C, or HB. And he has a knack for storytelling. He's from like, one of those impoverished country areas. And so he has like all the backwoods stories you can imagine, all those kinds of things. And whenever we get together as a family, he always tells us stories. And regardless of what's going on, everyone's laughing at Howard Barrett. So we're all like, and so growing up with him, we all learned how to tell stories. But as I paid attention to the stories that we told, I learned that we all tell different stories from different perspectives. You'll see what I mean in a minute. My two older sisters, Galen and Tanya. Galen's married now. She has 2 children. And every time I think I like girls and I want to do things for girls, I spend time with my nephews, and I'm like, all right, that can't wait, because I don't need any of those running around. But it was her and Tanya that came through high school together. And the way they lived life, they were kind of reclusive. Tanya wasn't as much as Galen is. They were kind of reclusive. And Tanya was an athlete. She liked to run track and stuff like that. Galen was the band. She played I think it was I don't know what she played. But and the way they lived life is they would have things happen to them. And they wouldn't necessarily go out and make their own fun. It was just kind of like unfortunate for them. Things would happen to them. So for instance, they would tell stories. Whenever they tell their funny stories, my sister Galen has a terrible fear of dogs. It's outrageous. I've never seen anything like it. It's an actual phobia. I don't know what you would call it. But they would tell stories like maybe one day Galen went to try out for the track team. First time ever she's out there, and they're walking back to like a car or something like that, and this big pit bull comes out of the blue and starts chasing them. And so my sister Galen runs, or Galen and Tanya are running away from the dog, and then my sister Galen is ridiculously afraid of dogs, so she jumps in the back of a random guy's pickup truck. But the guy's truck is in motion. She did not know this at the time. And so she drives halfway out of Irma's parking lot and all the way to the main road in the back of this guy's pickup truck running away from the dog. So when she tells us the story, we laugh so hard. And what I realized about them, my sisters Galen and Tanya, is that the way they lived life or their high school career or all their funny stories, things would happen to them. They wouldn't necessarily go and do anything. And there's my older brother Cliff. He's one of the funniest guys I know. He goes to North Carolina University now. He's a football player there. And Phillip is a very observant fellow. And things wouldn't necessarily happen to him. He wouldn't go and do things. He would just observe things. And he would be around when the funniest things ever happened. And so Cliff would tell us stories about like certain people. Like there's this guy named Tony Alexander at his middle school. And he's the most dangerous guy around. Cliff would tell you stories about guys at his school for days. And Tony Alexander got in a fight with this one kid. And it was in middle school, and Cliff was like, we were all like 11 years old, so it was the scariest thing ever. They got in a fight, and the guy picks the other guy up and slams him halfway on the fence. His body kind of collapses. And so Cliff's like, we're all out there crying, the kids are like boo-hooing, sobbing and stuff. The one kid had to get the paramedics, and other stuff. And so that's the kind of guy Cliff is. He sees things, and he tells us about it. And there's me. And if anyone in here knows me, there's a couple guys in here know me from the football team, you might be able to tell that I'm a youngest child. Just because of the way I behave, and I like a lot of attention and all that kind of stuff. But as the youngest child, I would always go and make my stories. And this necessarily wasn't the best thing ever. For me, whenever we gather around, they always tell their stories to the family, or whenever we have family guests over, we're all telling stories. And they're all like, oh, I never knew this about you guys, blah, blah, blah. And then the grand finale is Phil. It's time for Phil to tell his stories. Now, all my stories consist of me getting in trouble in elementary school, me doing strange things, asking what-if questions. For instance, my senior year in high school, I was in this program called the International Baccalaureate. I don't know how to pronounce it to this day. It was very hard. I didn't like it. I don't want to do it ever again. It's the worst thing in my life. But anyway, I was in this program, and the school program decided to take a trip to Paris. And then I'm not even considering it when it first happens. They're like, we're going to go to Paris. And I'm like, all right, ooh, Paris. And they're like, well, first we're going to have some foreign exchange students from here for a couple months. I was like, ooh, all right, foreign exchange students. And they're like, it's a liberal arts school over in Paris. They're doing the arts over there. And it's predominantly females. And I'm like, ooh, all right, let's host a student. And so the teachers, the facilitators knew my history with girls around the school, so they gave me, no offense to anyone in here, I mean, the shortest, pudgiest girl didn't know how to speak English. I had the whole group. And I'm like, oh, okay, the joke's on me, whatever. So I got her and I hosted her, and we had a great time. There's one story I can't say, I don't have time for that. She jumped into a pool when it was like 20 degrees, and then she got in my car, and the seats, there's like leather seats and all that kind of stuff. She's soaking wet. She didn't have to change her clothes. Roxana, what are you doing? She knew how to speak English. I'm like, God damn it, Roxana. That happened, so I hosted the girls. And man, it's time for us to go to Paris. And I'm like, what if I were to go to Paris, France? And I'm like, why not? I'm going to go to Paris, France. So I asked my mom about it, and then she pays for my trip. And so I go there, I'm on the plane, I take the plane by myself. I touch down, and the girl I want to stay with, her name is Carla. I met Carla in the last 2 days. Carla's the most spontaneous, exciting person I ever met in my life. And I'm like, I'm going to go spend some time with Carla in Paris, the city of love. I learned when I got there that Paris is not the city of love. Paris is the city of fornication. It's the city of sex. There's nothing love that has. There's nothing to do with that. So anyway, I'm not saying I did that in Paris, but I get there, I touch down, and Carla's dad meets me at the airport because she's in school at the time. His name's Stefan. And I'm like, so Mr. Stefan? He's like, no Mr. just Stefan. I don't know what America, but here I'm Stefan. No Mr. Stefan. So I'm like, all right, Stefan, nice to meet you, whatever. So Stefan and I go to downtown Paris by Notre Dame. That's what they call it. The big church that a lot of people know about. So anyway, we get there, and he's like, take a look around for yourself a little bit, and like, whenever you're ready to come back, say about 30, 45 minutes, I'll be in this place right here, and he shows me where it is. And I'm like, all right, so I start walking, and I'm like, what if I were to go over there? So I start going over there. What if I go over here? I start going over here. I look back and I see the tip of the castle, and I'm like, all right, cool. What if I go over here? I go over here, and then I go over there, and then all of a sudden I'm lost. So I start documenting this on my phone, and I'm like, oh, I'm listening to my brother, I'm lost in Paris, and I asked the guy for directions, he doesn't know English. Oh, man. And then I asked some guy for directions. There's one guy who knew English, so he let me back to the church or whatever, and I found my way back. And then 3 hours later, I got my phone stolen. And I'm in Paris for a few weeks now, and there's no way for me to buy a phone, I don't have any service or anything like that. So that's just another story I can tell people that I actually went and inflicted this pain upon myself. And these are different types of storytellers that I've observed in my lifetime. Thank you.